Hey everyone, John here again with Pro H Paintball. Today we're going to cover how to disassemble your gun and to fix an issue that happens if your gun is sat for a real long time, and that is you have a leak down the barrel or between the frame, the trigger frame here. Very similar, very often it's the same issue for both of them. One can happen while the other one doesn't, so it's kind of be a little bit longer video. Please, before you guys forget, please like this video and subscribe for more videos. We do some product reviews occasionally, we do tech videos. But it really helps us out if you guys like the video. So before you get started, of course, you want to make sure that there's no paint inside the gun, no air tank, anything like that. These Allen wrenches do come with your Kaos in your parts kit. So this also is good for any Spider paintball gun. These all work very similar as far as that goes. And most Kaos guns, even your Blitz, your Azodin guns, very similar on that one. So again, these Allen wrenches come with your kit. I do need an O-ring pick to help remove some O-rings, but if you don't have that, you can always get one after you watch the video. So first things first, air tank, no paint, good to go. And the first thing you really want to do is I like to take the bolt assembly out. So the way you can do that is you're going to pull that bolt out the top, lay it off to the side, and then you're going to unscrew this. Sometimes this can be difficult. You either need a flathead screwdriver or a quarter will work in those slots and actually help you remove this. Good to go. There's your velocity adjuster, your spring, and this is a rubber stopper. And then you have a hammer inside, so you can take and just slam it against your hand like that. Or you can take an Allen wrench and push it out from the inside. And you can grab that and set this aside. Good to go. Next things on that one is you can take off the two frame screws that hold the frame on, or in the front and the back. And again, we're fixing the idea that there's air actually coming out the front or the top tube of your paintball gun is one issue, or you hear air coming between the grip frame and the body. So you want to take, I believe it's your 3mm Allen wrench, and unscrew this here. It's nice if you have a long T-handle Allen wrench. If you're going to have this gun for a long time, or if you already have Allen wrenches, may upgrade to like a long T-handle. Those are really nice. So there's a screw in the front and the back, a small hole there. Hopefully you can see that. There we go. These guns typically don't hold air. Like if you've recently had it aired up and there's air set inside the gun, there's usually not air in them. But if you are concerned about that, I would recommend cock the gun back and dry fire it a couple times with no air tank on. Make sure that it cycles out any air on it. So this front screw here doesn't come out, you loosen it up, and then the frame comes off. So you want to make sure you do the back screw first, and then the front screw. And so now it comes off completely on that one. And I don't like to take apart the hose if I don't have to, so I just like to unscrew the body here. I'm holding everything, usually recommend work in a clean area. This screw will fall out, so make sure you don't lose that. I usually try to set everything aside. And so these pieces here won't typically cause that leak between the frame here and down the body. If you do have a leak in the front of the gun here, it's going to be this small O-ring here. These do come in your parts kit. I believe is the number 15 O-ring. Good to go. Pretty straightforward on that one. I don't normally lube those at all. You just want to set this trigger frame assembly off to the side. Okay, so now that we have the body apart, or the frame off the body, and one thing before I forget, this hammer O-ring right here will not cause the leak down the front of the gun. This one here, you can take it out, air up the gun, and it's not going to cause a leak, so that's not the issue. All right, next thing is you want to take, I believe this is your 4mm, if I remember right, and you want to take out the valve and also this front vertical adapter. So just take it. This one's going to be kind of hard to get out. And I'm holding all the pieces together because there are screws. This is under spring tension. There's a screw here and I believe an O-ring. So there's an O-ring there. So that is one cause that can cause a leak out of the front area here, is that small O-ring right here. And I believe that's also a 15, I'd have to double check the manual, 15 or 16 O-ring on the front there. And this is your longer screw, so I like to just keep it together. That way you don't get them mixed up at all. You just set that one aside. And then as you undo the vertical adapter, this front piece will come out here. This is your cup seal. This is your valve spring. And there's another O-ring on the front of the gun there. So if you have air coming out the front of the gun, like not through the tube, but through the front of the bottom, it's going to be this O-ring most likely right here. Good to go there. And so now all we have left inside the gun, you probably can't see that, is just a valve. So we have a set screw on the bottom here. This is probably the most important screw on the entire gun. You want to make sure you have this tight and secure in the correct spot. Otherwise, you can actually hurt yourself because the valve system, once you air it up, is under pressure and it can shoot out. So I want to unscrew this all the way here. And it has a little rounded area there on the bottom of the screw, if you can see that. And I'll show you why that's important. So now that we have the set screw for the valve off, I have a long Allen wrench. You can use a pin, like a writing pin. You want to be real gentle. You don't want to hit this on here because you don't want to damage it all. So anything plastic, but I'm just going to take it and I'm going to slowly slide the valve out the front of the gun. There you go. So there is a large size of the valve and a small size of the valve, and I'll show you how that works in a second. But before we forget, this area here, if you notice, the valve actually has a cutout on one side and just a hole on the other one. This set screw is going to go into that hole. So this helps keep this valve from going forward or backwards, excuse me, when you air it up. So you make sure you remember that when it goes in. So inside the gun, so we get this, there we go. Inside the gun, this is how this sits. And so this is called your cup seal, and this is your valve. This cup seal is just a plastic type Delrin material that actually seals on the face of this valve here. And what that means is when you put air behind it, there's air pressure behind this piece here and the spring, and it forces these two pieces to stay closed together. So if this piece of rubber here, of plastic is actually scarred or damaged or gets dirt in it, or the valve gets damaged, that's why I said when you press this out, be real gentle, because you don't want to scratch the end of that. If it gets scratched, then it cannot seal inside the gun, which can cause a real small leak. This will cause a real small leak down the barrel. So your cup seal, 99% of your barrel leaks are going to come through from the cup seal being damaged, worn out, anything like that. Show you real quick. This spring pops off, has a little spacer on there, and then this, and you can replace just a cup seal or the entire assembly. Your call. Good to go there. So remember, this does that. Then, if that doesn't basically fix the small leak, then it's going to be one of the two O-rings on the valve. Typically, whenever I repair a Kaos, or most guns with this type of valve system, you want to go ahead and replace the cup seal and the O-rings. If the O-rings are old enough to be worn out, then the cup seal is probably pretty worn, and vice versa. So if the cup seal is worn out, you probably want to change the O-rings on this too. You've already got the entire gun completely apart. So instead of doing a cup seal and then putting the whole gun back together and it still leaks, for about $1, you can get 2 new O-rings and you can replace those as well. So as far as this goes, there are 2 O-rings on here. This is a urethane O-ring, I believe, because it's clear, and this is a black one. I don't remember the official name for that. But you do want to try to put the same color O-rings back on. I can use, or the same materials, reason why they're different colors. I have used the black O-rings on both sides, and it does work. If you notice, there's no grease or anything on this. You don't really want to lube these. They kind of seal on their own. And because they're stationary, they don't move at all, you don't really have to put anything on them too much. You can put a little grease on there just to make sure that you don't cut them as it goes in. But I don't recommend any oil, mainly the grease or nothing at all typically. And so this is your valve. So not to get too off track, sorry about that. The way this works is it sits inside there. So if you have a leak between your body and your frame, it's one of these O-rings here typically because it's leaking and it's coming through all the holes. And if it's down the barrel, it's going to be this cup seal here. Just to show you briefly how this works, as you fire this gun or as you fire it, this piece goes forward, it slams that valve there and it actually opens the valve. You notice here how it's opening, and then whenever it releases, it closes back up. So that allows air to come around here and up through the hole in the valve. So it allows air out, fires a paintball, and then resets itself, and you're good to go. So Once you replace these O-rings, put them back in. I'll show you real quick. Small hole goes towards the back of the gun. Big hole goes towards the front. So big hole towards the front. And then, of course, your set screw hole is going to go down, or your valve hole goes to the top. So just like that. So I just turn the gun up like this. Slowly slide it in. And you can see through the holes right here, you can see where you're looking at. Typically, your pinky won't be long enough to get it set. Good to go. Okay, so once you get it where it needs to go, take your valve set screw. And I believe, again, your 4mm. And you want to tighten that down. If for some reason this is very hard to put down, you don't have it inside the valve. You may have it on the side of the hole of the valve. This is supposed to go below flush if you're doing it correctly. And make sure, look on both sides of the valve. Make sure you can't see that set screw going on one side or the other. This means if you can't see it on both sides of the valve, means the set screw is into the middle of the valve, which is correct. And you want to take this and do a pretty snug locking into place. And you're good to go. So then your cup seal goes in. This is probably the hardest part about the gun, is trying to get the vertical adapter and this spring loaded area here back together. So it's going to be, I believe, the top middle screw. And so what I typically would do is hold it like this, make sure that hole's vertical. Take my vertical adapter. If this O-ring keeps falling out for you, you can take a little grease and put it on there so it kind of sticks into place. And so I will take this, like I said, this is kind of the most difficult part. Hold it in place. You may have to try this a couple times and then try to line it up. Should catch. Once you get it, there you go. Once you get that hole lined up with this screw hole, you can start tightening up and you can feel it. And again, you don't want to over tighten this, but you want to do a nice snug. This piece needs to be smooth on both sides. And if you don't get it perfect the first time, just loosen it up just a little bit. There we go. And make sure it's snug on both sides. Or flush on both sides, I'm sorry. And they'll snug, so there you get to go. And you're set. So that's going to be your valve replacement, your cup seal replacement. And then put it back together. Of course, you just want to screw the body onto the front grip. It'll be lined up for you. Then you want to take your, I always do the front screw first because you can drop that into place on the front of the frame. Drop it in there. Hold the gun vertical so that way that screw doesn't fall out. Take your Allen wrench and tighten it up. Again, this is why I like a long T-handle, because you can actually use it, but this is the Allen wrench that comes with your kit. Once you get that snug, then you can do the back screw. Remember, you want to do, when you're taking it apart, you want to do the back screw first, and then the front screw, and putting it back together, you want to do it in reverse. And again, tighten this up, snug. Sometimes these will come loose. If you want to take a little blue Loctite, a little bit, and put it on the threads, that way as you're firing it over time, these screws don't loosen up. Oop. So be careful with that. There you go, tighten both those up. Good to go. And then you're gonna put the valve, the hammer goes back in place, the hole facing up. Pull the trigger as you're pressing into the gun. Line the bolt up. You'll find the hole on the top of that. We do have another video that shows you how to take apart this disassembly. So, take apart this assembly. So we've got the bumper, spring, and the velocity adjuster. And I know I did that kind of quick. If you have any questions, let us know. We do have other videos on how to rebuild this area. So I didn't want to spend too much time on that. So you're ready to rock and roll. Of course, before you go play, make sure you air up your gun. Make sure there are no leaks. Cock this back. Make sure everything's good on there. I appreciate you guys watching. If you guys have any questions about the Kaos or any other Azodin guns, make sure you give us a call, comment below, find us on social media. I answer all those questions from the videos, from email, all that good stuff. But other than that, that should take care of, again, any leaks down the barrel, between the grip frame, out the front, or in this area right here. So thank you guys so much for watching. Again, please like the video, please subscribe. We do video reviews occasionally, and product reviews and repairs. So thank you guys again for watching. See you guys next time.